Hello everyone and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan. Thank you ever so much for coming to my channel. So, it's been a minute since we've looked at the 32-gallon long aquarium that sits in the center of my rack to the left of my chair in the fish room. This is a SRA or SR Aquaristic glass box, a beautiful aquarium made not too far from here in the Chicagoland area. I'm not sure where their factory is, but I know the company is located nearby in Elgin, Illinois, and they have a website, so look it up, SR Aquaristic. They use the German style of manufacturer that features, I think, slightly thicker glass than you would find on any given size, and a really nifty, neat black seam. That being said, I also did something I've been meaning to do with this fish tank for a long time, which is I pulled about 20-25 fish, if you can believe it. You're looking at a tank minus 20-25 fish that I brought to my local fish shop. Now, it was impossible to selectively, well, not impossible, but I sort of compromised. I ran my biggest net through, captured anything and everything, put them into a smaller tank, and then kept certain specimens that I wanted to keep, and I'll talk about that, and brought certain specimens that I knew were still good quality, but that I had an excess of, and also as a means of population control. So what I tried to keep was as many of the glorious long fin variety of swordtail and platy hybrids, of which you're looking at some right here, displaying really interesting tails and stunning red and black configuration. There's one that's all red, not a perfect tail. I'm not trying to do this for awards, but just for my own admiration. So not all of these fish are representing their species, and many of them are hybridized to the point of craziness. Like, good Lord knows, that looks like a tuxedo platy and some sort of long fin swordtail combination. Crazy, but crazy beautiful. Basically, the three main fish in terms of the live bearers that started it all were, well, there were four. There was the tuxedo platy, of which I got a group from Dan over at Sydney's Angels, way out in the hinterlands of the Chicagoland area. And what a super cool dude. Just go to Sydney's Angels. He's got the best fish and such a great karma. He's a true gentleman and a wonderful family man. And he gave me his whole group of tuxedo platies, which is that fish there. There's a big old adult. And then there were red mollies. I forgot where I got those. Maybe a swap, maybe a trio of long fin or leer tail red mollies, and then black mollies, and then swordtails. I forget which kind. I think the German black swordtail, which you can see some sort of there's a good example of that. That's the fourth kind. So I always get confused what can interbreed with what. I know that platies and swordtails, and I know different mollies, obviously, with different mollies, but not all three can breed with all three. There are a few stumbling blocks. There have been some fabulous and fascinating videos where people are able to breed these fish with guppies, certain mollies with guppies, but that's not the subject of this video. It's just all part of what's going on in this aquarium in terms of the F3, F4s, and you see a ton of juveniles, and the closer and more intense I would look, you'd see even smaller and smaller ones. I never get I've yet to see one fry get eaten by any of these, so I've never pulled my fry on any of my tanks because I've never seen them get eaten by their parents. And maybe it's because I'm not looking and there's just so many, it's hard to gauge whether you're losing fish or not. So I took in some female red mollies because I had a preponderance of those and they were dropping a ton of fry, like these fish here. Very beautiful, but I didn't need or want any more of those in the tank. And I brought in a few interesting long fins just so that my local fish shop guy, you know, would be excited and happy. He really wants black mollies, but oddly, early on, like in 2023, I had nothing but now they're relatively a minority in this tank. There's a beautiful female black molly, so maybe I'll get some more. Looks like 4 she's carrying. But I had a really nice jet black strain that bred really true if they're breeding with one another and not with their red counterparts. But he likes the red and black and the red as well. So that's what's happening in terms of the livestock. But the Aquascape is really showing off in ways that I am so pleased. I've got a dwarf tiger lotus anchoring the left side over there, and then all the way over here on the right I've got a Taiwan lily. That creature right there, well, creature isn't the right word, but let's step up here and look. And that's really fun. I've got a group of crypts here, classic green Wendetti. These are all little tops from the super red mini that I grow in my other tanks, and I just stick down there mostly because I can. I mean, the tank would look just as good with a nice space there, but the plant seems to do pretty well. And I just chop it down and keep that little garden of red. There's some microsword right here with that deep green, which is kind of neat. Hyperoides, that's the part of the name anyway. A few tops there. It'll get redder as it reaches the top, much redder. You can trust me on that. And then a little bit of Sterigen repens down there. A ton of Anubias, a couple different kinds. All the larger leafed varieties. Now the very old growth at the bottom is starting to show some blackbeard algae, but I feel like that's absolutely natural and organic, and it doesn't affect the integrity or the aesthetic of this aquarium, and maybe even enhances it. And in the back I've got jungle veil. You can see the Oase outflow pushing water across it, which does exactly what a lot of people want this plant to do. It creates an organic and natural background, so you don't have to worry about putting any cellophane on the back of your tank, and a really neat sort of natural floating, you know, with the current effect. And of course the reflection is not a desirable part of this video and this tank. There's some water sprite back there, and I keep it growing like as a shrub at the bottom as opposed to floating at the top. It will, when it grows, start to release plants, and I take them out when that happens. But it's showing a really nice leaf structure, very beautiful, right? So people just think of it as some kind of massive floating bloom, but it can be a very lovely and delicate plant. I mean, look at the name, water sprite, a sprite. It's a sprightly plant. I have a bunch of different Coreodoras in here. As we look at the bottom, maybe we'll run across some. I have some Plecostomus and Hillstream loaches. I put in a cave, which I've never done before, promptly, and you can see his tail there. one of the monster males found it. It was so much fun. I want to show my kids that, because to them, putting a cave for a fish will be a completely fascinating and interesting development. So I look forward to sharing that with them. There's a few longfin white cloud mountain minnows left from the very beginning of this aquarium, and that was the only fish in here. There's one there. And I originally wanted to try to just keep those fish. I got those from White Cloud Mountain Dynasty. He's kind of well known for having the best, and I got a great group, but they didn't spawn, or if they did spawn, I never saw it. I don't know what I was doing wrong. I mean, you can see the tank here. You'd think they'd be pretty happy, and they were really happy. I just wasn't getting babies. Then I got bored, and because I have an addictive personality, I started going to the swaps, bought a trio of live bears, and well, the rest is history. If you have any questions or comments about this lovely tank, about the equipment I use, the lighting, the substrate, etc., I'll answer you in the comments, all right? And then I'm going to sign off with my usual, always keep your hands in the tank, albeit carefully, and ciao for now.